Yo, good people, what's goody? Yeah, as I was sitting here stretching, I had an epiphany. And I mean, it's an epiphany. It's probably something that I've said to someone else, giving what we call good advice. But sometimes the only way to get to the other side of a thing is not to go around it, under it, over it, to the east, west, or whatever of it. Sometimes it's just going through it. And I got that epiphany as I was stretching here. I was doing a particular position, making sure that my hips are facilitating the movement and I'm not just turning only my toe out at the ankle, but that my entire hip is actually rotating out as it is necessary for me to hold a particular position. And in that position, it was like, bam, okay, sometimes you just got to go through a difficult situation, because going through that situation, there are certain lessons that are to be learned along the way in your progress from getting from point A to point B, or from getting to the part at which your dream is only a concept and a dream in your head, to actually bringing it out into the world, into fruition. Sometimes the only way to get to that end, or to that degree, rather, because I don't think that life happens at a plateau and you just make it. No, I believe that life happens in several degrees. That's a different geometric conversation. I can go into detail on that. But yes, when you go through, because in our society now, you know what I'm saying, it's like we want things that are expedient, you know what I'm saying, things that are fast, but not everything can happen like that. Every flower only blooms in its time. Every flower blooms in its time. And even the leaves here, these dead leaves are, these leaves that are going to be renewed back into the earth, they have their time to fall. They have their time to go through a green phase. They have their time to go through a red phase or a yellow phase or whatever it may be. And these are processes that cannot be rushed. They can't be rushed. And you have to learn how to endure through it, because in those steps, so many lessons, like I said. So what I would suggest that you guys do, and what I would encourage y'all to do, is like get into a daily, when I say daily, I mean daily stretching habit. Make it a habit to stretch. If you can't see yourself doing it for 1 minute, see yourself doing it for 20 seconds. Just take a stretch every single day and commit to that. And then what I would say is step up your time. Increase your time, okay? Increase the duration of time, that you're stretching. And you'll learn so many lessons in just the process of stretching. Breath is another very vital thing, and a vital key to put your attention to. Not only breathing as we think it's just an automatic response or an automatic thing that we do, but breathing with control and with intent. Okay, what's going to happen in your stretching is your body is going to open up a lot more in those tight places, whether it be in your rib cage, whether it be in your shoulders, whether it be between your shoulder blades, along your spine, in your spine, even certain cranial muscles. Okay, even certain thigh muscles or hip muscles, especially. When you stretch and you gain a greater range of motion, your body is then able to take in more breath. The capacity at which you can inhale becomes that much broader. What happened, I don't even want to go into like the psycho-spiritual part of it, but whenever you have certain tightnesses, your breath is not allowed, or your body is not allowed to expand enough to capacitate the full potential of each breath that you can take. Your breath becomes shallow. But when you begin to put stretching into a regular practice, you'll notice that every time that you inhale, it's almost as if each breath is going down from the crown of your head down to your toes. It's filling your being to its full capacity. Okay, so again, when I say stretch, I say stretch with intent. And along that process of stretching and going through these difficult positions, each position, each phase in a series of movements. Okay, each phase in a series of movement is a pose in the the movement of time. It's a pose. So you're learning to hold these different poses with correct posture, with an elongated spine, making sure that your hips are turning out to facilitate the movements as well. But back to the breath. Your breathing becomes deeper when you start to open up your range of motion. Not only just motion as it's seen superficially, but your range of motion as it is deep into the muscle tissues. When it gets deep in there, you'll start to feel that your body is literally coming alive. Again, it's reviving, renewing itself, regenerating itself, if you will. So yes, I encourage you guys, stretch, 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 and stretch more. If I don't say anything else, stretch. Because in doing that simple process, you're going to learn so many other things, and all of the stuff that I'm saying and describing is going to make sense to you. And you're going to be like, yo, KG, like, dude, I feel like I could breathe into my spine. Like, I feel like my body is opened up. I feel like my chest is opened up. Now I can take a deeper breath. It's very important, okay? So if I say stretch, there's so many different steps that are complex in their description. In the description is complex. In the practice, it makes more sense, okay? So I can only explain so much. The only thing that I would encourage you, do any one of these things. Start somewhere, even if it's just deep breathing alone, without focusing on any positions or anything like that. Start there. You may be able to come through that doorway just right off the back, and you get the breathing part easy, and you'll excel at it. Somebody else, their thing might be actually sitting themselves down and just going through positions, going through a straddle position, trying to reach down and touch your toes. That might be your challenge. You might be really rigid when it comes to that. You might be kind of Taurus, like Earth. Earth is rigid, you know what I'm saying? But if that is you, I would encourage you to start right, you know what I'm saying, at some point. Start with the breathing. Okay, for the person that lacks patience, I would say sit down and try to hold a pose for a considerable amount of time. You be the judge as to how much time that is, and then increase on the time or the amount of time that you hold each pose. Okay, that might be your pathway. Then you might have a person that is they're able to move and have a pretty decent range of motion, but what if the mental capacity, the mental part, their mind might be busy? Then I would say for you, try to calm down. You know what I'm saying? Master the meditative practices. You know what I'm saying? So each person has a rate at which they can learn. Each person has a certain set of strengths and weaknesses when it comes to this thing. But I would urge you to just start somewhere, either just sitting and trying to quiet your mind in meditation, or sitting and going through the different holding poses, or sitting and focusing in on your deep breathing. Okay, I would say start somewhere along that chain, and if you do it consistently, you will begin to naturally gravitate to the other pathways, or to the other practices. You know, you might start on deep breathing and then eventually begin to work breath and body together by going through different poses, making sure that you have an ease of motion, okay? And syncing that breath with the motion. Or you may just be able to come in on the stretching part. But somewhere, if you can sit for 5 minutes and stretch, and you're that person that has that patience to sit through a pose or a couple of poses, that will be for you. Start there, and then increase the time, you know, and just make sure that you make time for yourself to stretch, to do deep breathing, to do intensive focus and meditation, intently focusing on a particular point or thing or theme or an idea, and just focusing your mind solely on that one thing, as to gain control of it and get your mind quiet, basically. So that's what it all, these are all things that it entails, the practice of stretching and meditation and all of that stuff. But yeah, I would say that is the most important lesson, is sometimes you just got to go through the process, okay? Sometimes you got to go through the pain. Any weightlifter that wants to look good and have a nice body, you got to go through the pain of picking up that damn weight, okay? If you want for your diabetes and all of these kinds of different diseases that have a hold on so many people, where the hell did all of this stuff come from? Like, my grandpa lived to be like damn near 90 years old, and Like, come on, man. You know what I'm saying? Had his teeth, had all his hair, and all that kind of stuff. So, sometimes the other side of the goal to getting over your diabetes is simply by having a little more discipline. Like, don't pick that up. Don't put that in your mouth if it's not going to do your body any justice, any good. Okay, yeah. So I mean, sometimes if you want to be the greatest singer, you got to go through the pain of picking up that damn guitar and singing something every day. You got to go through making sure that your breath control and your diction is right, and your projection, when you know what I'm saying, and your voice control. Not to say that I'm the best, but these are some of the things that you have to go through. Ask any comedian who's successful now how many trials and errors that they have to go through before they reach that top. Or ask any athlete in any field, whether it be football, whether it be track, whether it be powerlifting, whether it be a strong man, whether it be basketball, anything. Ask them, did they get there to the top easy? And if they did get there easy, then they're not the pick of the crop. They're not, because there's somebody from off the street that can come and beat their ass and dust them off in a game. So the thing is that you have to go through the uncomfortable processes in order for you to develop into whatever it is that you need to develop into. And that's up to you. Whatever it is in your own respective lives that you are seeking to attain. You know what I'm saying? You're seeking to get to that mountaintop on. Whatever it may be is up to you. But that the deal is that you got to go through you got to go through an uncomfortable process. You have to go through some resistance. You have to learn how to fortify yourself in some things and stand your ground on certain things, or you got to learn when to let go of certain shit and just let it fall on its face. You know what I'm saying? But these are all processes in the school, really, of life, because that's how learning takes place, is in life. Because we're constantly getting messages and lessons and things that, we see, observations, things that we're learning from in life through our own experiences. We learn, the comfortable versus the uncomfortable, or the dangerous versus the safe situations. We learn a lot of things in life, and don't let anybody tell you anything else. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But anyway, guys, go through those uncomfortable processes. Sometimes sitting down for hours with a camera is the necessary thing that you have to do, even though it is a tedious and a mentally exhausting process to sit and try to learn a piece of tech that you have not used and that you never really intended to use. So sometimes we have to go through these uncomfortable processes to gain a greater strength, and then in retrospect gain a greater appreciation for the failures that you've gone through. Okay? All right, that's the message from your boy KG. Yeah, all right, I think I said it. Whatever is needed to be said was already said back there. And if you guys ever need any clarity on things that I'm saying, or explanation in depth, I'm willing to go there. Pay me. All right, peace and love, y'all.